Hey everybody, Cheryl here. Hi, how are you? Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Cheryl Horvath. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Woodinville, Washington, and I have some fun things to show you today. This is my first video back since the sudden passing of my husband in November, so I'm a little rusty. Just bear with me, please. I had to actually teach myself again how to do some things with the recording, and it took me longer than I would have liked, but I think I'm all squared away and ready to go. So I want to talk to you today about something called online exclusives, and I'm going to do some sneak peeks, and then we'll play around and maybe make a card with some of this stuff. So let me put my camera back in line. There we go. Make sure I'm straight here. That looks pretty good. And move that a little bit. Anyway, so online exclusives is something new that Stampin' Up! Is starting, and these are basically product releases that are going to happen 3 times a year. And they are going to happen in March, July, and November. And if you're a demonstrator, you're going to get early access to these products, at least a selection of them. So these are the early access products that we were able to purchase during the month of February. And for customers that are not demos, March 1st is the date. So these are going to be available online only. That's why they're called online exclusives. So there's going to be an update to the website, the Stampin' Up! Website, where you can search for the online exclusives differently than how you would, maybe search for a catalog item. It's kind of like where the clearance rack is. So clearance rack items are always online only, and so you have to navigate to the clearance rack online, and then you can see everything that's there. And I think that it's going to work similarly for the online exclusives. So they'll be separated out, I believe. Well, I haven't seen it yet. It's not launched for demonstrators yet, how they're going to do it, but I believe that's how they're going to do it. So there's going to be a separate section on the website called online exclusives that you can go to and just see everything that's online and the new release for the online stuff. Whew, that was a lot. So these are the products that I purchased. Let's have a peek. I think you're going to like them. So the suite is called Irresistible Blooms, and it's stamp, dies, paper, and embellishments. So this is what the stamp looks like. It's red rubber, and it has coordinating dies with it, which I'm really excited to play with, and I'll show you a little bit later. We'll use some of these dies, and the dies do coordinate with the paper also. So they will they'll punch out, the dies will punch out the flowers and the leaves, but they will also punch out the flowers on the paper and the leaves on the paper too, and I'll show you that in a sec. So haven't put my stickers on yet, but I'm excited to play with this one. Sentiments are, I couldn't be happier to have you as my friend, which I love, and I like you. That's kind of unique. Hello, hooray, it's your day, and thank you. And I love the font for the thank you. So Irresistible Blooms, and then the paper is also very pretty and watercolor-ish. So, sorry. So there's that side. Very pretty spring colors. This is paper where you can die cut the flowers if you wanted to. And then this also, these leaves can be die cut. I love this one. That could be a card all by itself. Just cut it and put a sentiment on it. Oh, and I love that too. Love that paper. Could do some great Easter cards with this. Mother's Day is coming too. Well, I guess Mother's Day is quite a ways out, but more die cut flowers. These leaves, I don't think these die cut, but these do. Not a fan of this one color combination. Kind of weird, but I really like that too. I love that grid. Okay, so that's the paper. This suite sells for $74.50, if I didn't already mention that. And then you get these adhesive. They're not adhesive backed. They're loose gems, which they're pretty. They're just, you have to glue them on yourself. So there's the Daffodil Delight, there's Fleur de Flamingo, and then there's Pretty Peacock in here. So that's a new color that could be returning because Pretty Peacock is retired. And for some reason they brought it back in with this paper. And so I have a feeling they're going to bring Pretty Peacock back. And also something called Lost Lagoon. And that was before my time of Stampin' Up. So that's a color I don't own. But I do have Pretty Peacock. So that's the suite. And then the other items, the other paper, let me just show you that real fast, is 6 sheets. This sells for $10. 6 sheets of 12 by 12 foil embossed. So really pretty. This is the copper color. You can see that. And you have just silver with beautiful branches and trees. And then you've got this pretty pattern too with the gold. So 6 sheets. They're single-sided, so the back is just white. And this sells for $10. Very pretty. The next thing I got is a group of embossing folders. They're selling them as a trio, and they're the full-size ones, so they don't work on the mini, but the patterns are super cool. So this one is just dots, and I'll demonstrate these later, and I'll show you how they look when they're embossed, when paper's embossed on it. This is like a star pattern, really pretty, and I think this is my favorite. This reminds me of like burlap. Yeah. So those 3 folders sell for $30, which is pretty standard pricing because embossing folders are usually $10 each and they're 3D. So they work with the gray plate in your Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. The other stamp set that I got, this sells for $25, is called Classic Letters. And just to note, they're not to scale on the front of the case. They're bigger. So these are... that's the size that they are. So they're quite a bit bigger than what they look like on the front. And I measured them, and they are 7/8 of an inch tall. So if you go from top to top, yeah, they measure about 7/8 of an inch. And then they vary in width, obviously, but they're almost, yeah, they're 7/8 of an inch. Some of them are that wide as well. So they're almost square. Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited to play around with these. I like to do calendars a lot, and you know, you can put the year using the numbers, and anyway, I'll have fun playing with that. Let's see. I thought there was one more thing. Oh, this isn't part of the not part of the online exclusive. My hair's everywhere today, but these hand-drawn dots background stamp. I don't know why. I just love it. And I got a thing for dots because that other embossing folder has dots in it too. But these are not symmetrical. They look very hand-drawn. So I thought that would make a really fun background on some cards. So I got that too. So, okay. So that's the Irresistible. That's the Irresistible Suite. Hello Irresistible Suite for $74.50. And you get all of these items here. Okay, let's get some ink out and play. Okay, I'm back. You guys may have noticed a quick wardrobe change. It is actually a few days later from when I filmed the very first part of this video, but I did create a really adorable card that I want to recreate with you today. So I'm going to just get right back in it. Let's move this back and make sure we're straight. That looks good. Okay, so we're going to start with a piece of white paper to do some stamping, and I'm going to show you how I like to When I know I'm going to die cut, I'm going to show you how I like to stamp so that it's an efficient way of die cutting. So I have this large flower and the small flower here. We're going to stamp those. I actually put both of the leaf stamps here. I'm going to actually put this little small one on here too. So reposition these so you can stamp all of them at once. But what I want you to keep in mind when you're positioning your stamps on one block, that you have enough space in between them so that when you die cut them, the dies won't collide with each other. So here's a fun way to get 3 stamps stamped out at once. And I think that's all we're going to use for the card at this point. So the colors I chose are Flirty Flamingo, Mint Macaron, and Pale Papaya. And the Flirty Flamingo is the color from the paper that I'm bringing in, the coordinating paper. This set right here. So this is called Hello Irresistible paper, and the Flirty Flamingo is in this color scheme, but I think the color we're going to use for the background is going to be this one here. So, okay, so first of all, let's start out with, let's stamp some leaves. And I always, when I know I'm going to be die cutting, I like to stamp a couple of each. So position this, get this into camera view for you. So like that. And that way I have lots of extra parts and pieces. Best way to do this, I think, like that. So we've got lots of leaves. If you are the kind of person that likes to make 2 cards at once, this is a great way to do it. So then also note that this width of paper is going to go through the Stampin' Die Cut machine. Make sure you don't cut it too wide so that it gets caught on the edges. You don't want that. Okay, then I'm going to do a big and a little Pale Papaya flower. Like so. Then I'm going to do a big and a little Flirty Flamingo, and I'm just going to wipe off my block here. And so by doing it this way, you are able to set all your dies at once and do one pass, which I find super helpful. Okay, so there's all the components we're going to need for our flowers, or for the front of the card. Now, what I wanted to do was to bring in a little bit of color for the center of these. And the way I did that was I just got my blending brush, and I always, see how orangey that is? I always just take my wet cloth and just run it over the cloth for a minute, and then I test it. Oh, it's still really orange. We're going to be using Flirty Flamingo and the Pale Papaya, so there we go, that's pretty good. So now I'm just going to dab a little bit here and blend into the center. And you don't have to be super precise. If you have the Stampin' Blend markers, you could color inside, but I kind of just like the looseness of, and I want a little bit extra color in the center. Draw that out a little bit, like so. Always start and go lighter when you're using the same blending brush for different colors. So I'm going to do the same thing with the Flirty Flamingo. See how that just kind of brings it to life? I just tap, tap, and start in the center, and circular motion. until you have it as dark as you like. Now see, I did get some color outside of the lines, but you'll see when I die cut that, you can't hardly even tell. Okay, so I'm gonna just clean this brush off a little bit, put that back. I'm gonna leave the leaves just as they are. You could blend those as well if you wanted. And I have a small workspace, and so I like to try to put things away as I am done with them so that I have more room. Okay, so now we're going to set the dies. And I'm going to use my handy Post-it tape, which I love. You don't need much. So we are going to die cut the flowers and the stems all at once. So we will do, we'll do the pink first, and then we're going to grab this die for that leaf right there. I would be lost without my Post-it tape because I do like to die cut this way, and if you don't tape them down, it just, the probability of you skewing it when you actually run it through is very high. So I just tape them. Now there are times when I'm just doing a single and I can place it and feel confident that I don't need to tape it, but in this case, so now I'm just going to pick this up, nothing's going to move, and I'm going to take it over to my die cut machine and run it through. Apologize for the shaky table, which is going to happen here in just a second. Okay, so now in one pass we've done these flowers and 3 leaves, and I'm going to do one more pass and finish off the rest of them. See, I didn't line that one up very good, but that's not the tape's fault. That's because I was not looking down right over the top of it. My camera angle is, I feel like I'm working too far away from myself. My software changed recently. I use what they call OBS, open source software, and it's pretty technical, but it's very powerful. And then they switched something on me so that it was supposed to be easier. You know, it's kind of like teaching an old dog new tricks. I kind of liked it the way it was before because I knew what I was doing, and then they upgraded it to make it easier, and all it did was kind of make it harder for me. But I love the software, and I've tried StreamYard, don't care for it. I even tried to pay the premium price for the StreamYard and played around with it for a day and called them back and said I want my money back because OBS was so much more, in my mind, powerful. And maybe it's just user error. I just didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know about it. But I thought, why teach myself a whole new software program if I don't need to? So lining these up. That looks good. Okay, we're going to run these through. Okay, done with that. I love these colors, aren't they pretty? And I'm going to keep this tape because it's good for a few more passes. And so I just stick it on the top of my machine so that it's handy for me next time I do die cutting when I'm not wasting. Okay, so I'm going to throw that away. So here's our parts and pieces. Now we're going to, did I show you the card we're going to make? Maybe I should. So we're going to make this card. And I'm going to show you how to die cut this piece. So for the card components, we have, this is the card base. which we're not going to use just yet. This is the inside of the card, and then this is going to be the front of the card. So the way that I did this was I used this die, which was very pretty, very delicate, and I centered it left to right, and then not quite center top to bottom. I like just a little bit more white space towards the bottom. So we're just going to put this down here like that and run this through. And very carefully remove the tape. And you're probably going to want your pick tool so that you don't accidentally pull. It's pretty delicate. It cuts just fine, but you want to unstick it so that you don't tear anything. There we go. Oh, a couple more sticklers here. There. So then you have this beautiful centerpiece that looks like that. And that's going to go on the front of our card, and we're going to pop that up. But before we do that, we're going to stamp on it. And I'm going to use the this speckled stamp right here, which I love. It's just such a nice way to add a little extra interest. My sticker got flipped over. There we go. Like that. And I think I used soft seafoam, but I don't care for it with this color background, so I think I'm going to go to the mint and do the mint instead of the soft seafoam because it's just a shade different. And since I used mint for the leaves, I feel pretty good about that. So I'm just going to stamp it up. Well, that's a little dark. That's okay, it'll be pretty. Like that. Okay. Put that away. Okay, so there's our front, and then we're going to mount this to the base, but notice that there's some paper behind it. So I didn't want the paper to be, I wanted this to be popped up away from the paper. I don't want to glue the paper down first. So for example, I think we're going to, oh, that's not the right one. There it is. Okay. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. Okay. So we really only need a piece of paper big enough to cover the size of that circle. So I am going to cut a piece of paper. I'm going to give so the circle's about 3.25 wide. So I'm going to give myself about 3.75, 3.5 maybe. If I did 3.5, that's a little tight. So I'm going to do 3.75 square. I'm going to cut this down to 3.75 square. And then we're going to make sure that it fits, which it does. And so the way that I like to do this, let's pop this out of there. The way that I like to do this is to place this on like what they call dry fitting. So place it down just exactly how you want it. You make sure your paper's not, your your designer paper is not sticking out and it's straight, just like you want it, grab some more of that handy Post-it tape, and we're just going to stick it down like so. And then we're going to put glue on the back of this. And just hang tight with me. I'm going to show you my method here. Put glue on the back of this. Only the designer paper. Don't glue anything else. My glue's running out. There we go. So there's no glue anywhere else, just on the designer paper. And now we're going to center this where we want the front panel to be. So we're centering it. Okay, there's no glue anywhere, just there's only glue on the designer paper. This ensures that you have it lined up exactly how you want it. Then you're going to pull off this tape gently, and you're going to pull this away. So now this is glued down, and you know it's in the exact spot. Now what we can do is we're going to pop this panel up. So we're going to put some dimensionals on the back, quite a few. If you have some of the dimensional tape that comes in the big roll, sometimes people like to use, when they pop up, you know, big panels like this, they like to use the strips of it. But I am actually out of it, so I'm using my dimensionals. And I just like to make sure I get all of the edges the best I can. Like so. I'm going to put one here and one here. Now, you want to make sure you don't put dimensionals too close here because we're going to tuck flowers. Okay, so now that we have that there. Oh, the other thing is we should stamp. I stamped directly onto the paper, so let's do that. And I am using my favorite black ink for stamping is VersaFine Clair, and it's called the color Nocturne, which I just got a little over myself. It stamps really crisp, which I love. So we're going to center the panel where we want it, and then just go straight down like that. See how crisp that is? It's really a clean, it's a pigment ink, so you can actually use your embossing powder over the top of it if you wanted to, but it just stamps so crisp. I love it. Okay, so now we can put the panel down. I have been, don't pay attention to my hands. My nails are atrocious. I have been doing a bedroom remodel and all kinds of painting and staining. And I took my nails off because they were getting trashed. And I'm going to get my head over the top of this here so I can see. And I'm not putting them back on until my bedroom's done. Whoops. It's not centered. But I probably will put them back on next week because it's embarrassing. If you ask me, I have little boy hands. Okay, so there's the front of our card. Now we're going to decorate. And I think what I did before was I tucked this flower in there like that. And I used the small papaya flower. I'm going to put this in here like that. And then the double leaf one, maybe like that. How does that look? That looks really good. Okay. So let's pull this away. Let's pull this away. This is going to go straight down onto the back of the paper, so we can just glue this. No dimensionals. And we're just going to tuck it just like that. Then this one is going to get popped up but you only have, because this is popped up, you only have to put a dimensional right here on this upper part. And then glue for the rest. So, like so. Like that. And while it's still wet, you're going to want to tuck that in. So let's put some glue on there. And then this one is going to go, did we pop this one up? No, let's not pop it up because I've got a dimensional right there. So we're just going to glue this one straight down too. Like so. Isn't that pretty? I just love this delicate circle. So that's done. Now we're going to use the embellishments that I showed you earlier. These are loose, so you do need to put some glue on the back. And I picked just the blush pink ones. I tried some of the other colors and I didn't care for them, so I just used a couple of, get off there. So I used 3, and I think I did that. Very pretty. I think I want a small one here though. So let's grab a small one. Like that. Then I'm going to grab my glue and my pick tool. Stick that down there. The putty on my stick tool is really sticky. You just need a little bit. A little dab will do ya. That might be too much on that one, but it does dry clear, so. There. So there's our card so far. We're not done. I'm going to do the inside real fast. And I'm going to use my favorite sentiment in this set, which is, oh, the other thing you could do, I just took the other thing you could do is put little rhinestones or something on these little circles. That would be cute too. Okay, so there's the outside. The inside, this is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to grab the same speckled stamp and the mint macaron again. We're just going to go corner, corner, like that. Grab my VersaFine Clair ink again, and the stamp I want to put in there is, I couldn't be happier to have you as my friend. I love this sentiment. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to hover over this so that it's straight. Beautiful. Let's put some glue on the back of this. Oh, I'm smudging it. Don't do that. I'm going to fix that right now. There. This is your friend, Sand Eraser. You gotta love it. So there's our card. Isn't that pretty? that's using, just to recap, it's called Irresistible Blooms. This is the online exclusive. Oh, you know what? We didn't put in this little flower guy right here. Should we tuck him in there? Let's tuck him in there, since we cut him. Cute. So the Irresistible Blooms is the online exclusive stamp set that will be available in March if you are not a demonstrator. If you are a demonstrator, it's available for pre-order right now. There will be, let me show you again just to recap. This is just a sampling of the things that demonstrators can pre-order right now. I did show you this already, so I'm not going to go through it again. Oh, but I did tell you I was going to show you the embossing folders, which I did. So these are the 3 embossing folders. This one has stars, and it looks like that when you emboss it. Very pretty. Then this one is the dot one. Also super fun. And then this is my favorite. This is the burlap. Nice. Now, I did play around with burlap on crumb cake. So what I did was I embossed it, and then I took some blending brush and some soft suede, and I just gave it some texture, and then I crumpled it all up many times, and it kind of looks like cloth. And I roughed up the edges with the scissors. You just take any old scissors and you just do that to it, and it gives it a very distressed look. And then you could use it on the front of a card. Let's see if I have. Oh, something like this. I mean, it would be more decorative than that, but it would kind of look like a little burlap piece of fabric underneath it if you glued it down, and maybe put another border behind it. It'd be like so, kind of thing, with the sentiment. I just thought that would be really pretty. Anyway, just some ideas for you. So this is a really great set. It's going to make some beautiful cards. I still have lots to play with in terms of the other components of it. Like, I did cut some of these pieces to play with, and they didn't make it to my card, but I've got another idea in mind for these. So that's what this cuts, and then it's got also these other little decorative leaf pieces too. So really great set. Really good year-round set for the thank you, or you could, for birthday, whatever. But yeah, that's the Irresistible Blooms, and here are our cards. You could do the envelope flap with a piece of coordinating paper from the set. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love it if you gave me a thumbs up, and if you haven't clicked that follow button and you'd like to see more videos from me, then just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let me know what you think. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.